Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Leora and I talk on here about books, reading and writing sometimes as well. And today I have a really big book haul. I kind of went overboard and I bought all of the books. I have no self-restraint whatsoever. It's just not within me. Mostly I bought a lot of witch books because I was doing some reading vlogs where I was reading a lot of witch books. It was absolutely not necessary for me to buy more witch books, but I did do that, so yeah, here we are. This pile, and then behind me there's a whole other pile. This also includes all of the books that I bought in Scotland. I went to Scotland in August and I did a little book shopping there as well. So there's just lots of books I have to talk about. There's also some dark academia and some more horror-esque things in this pile. So very excited, but mostly it's all very full autumn themed. Sabine is currently in my house. She's been sat over there the whole time. It's like low-key nerve-wracking.
Hi everyone. I was like,
you can sit down.
I was like, do you need help with like showing them the other pile? Because
yeah, you can show the other pile.
Look, she bought one pile.
Yeah, I bought two piles. Look, there's two piles of books.
They are so happy. She asked me to carry one of the piles here to showcase you, and then I stopped carrying the other pile because I didn't know there was another pile.
She was like, there's another pile. I was like, yes, there is another pile.
I fully support your decisions.
Thank you, thank you. You should not. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad habits all around. She's having dinner at my place because we are friends in real life. Did you know that?
I knew it, but I don't know if they did. I will leave you to it.
Yeah, sorry.
And I will admire the making of this video from the sidelines.
Like a live viewing.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting, so.
Is it? Are
yeah.
you just gonna see me struggle with my words for like 30 minutes?
Girl, I have that all the time as well, so
okay.
Don't worry about it. Have fun watching the video, I guess.
Okay, so I have my cup of tea here as well, just in case you're wondering what is she hauling around. It is tea. I will probably forget it. And then it's cold, but you know, happens to the best of us. This is not in any particular order because I am not an organized being. It's just the books that I bought in several places. This is one I bought really recently. This is A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Soft. And I bought this because I saw another booktuber talk about it. That's all like the encouragement I needed because I don't need a lot of encouragement when it comes to magical, witchy, woodsy reads. So this says an intoxicating love story set against a mythical hunt. And that's also like almost everything I know about it. I just know that it's set like near a backdrop of woods. It has something to do with a forest. You're like looking at me like, yes, it does.
Because I really want to get that book myself as well. I've been eyeing it in the bookstore every single time I go to work, but I just not allowed to buy it. Okay, so I do also know that it has something to do with romance, that there's like a romance at the sort of center of it and that there's a magical hunt. So I think it's a hunter and somebody who's living alone in like a manor in the woods or something like that. The cover also really got to me because I love this sort of type of illustration style that sort of picturesque and like very much looks like a painting, and I just really enjoyed the cover, and that's basically why I bought it. It's not that deep. Then another book I recently bought when I was on my witch book buying spree is Cackle by Rachel Harrison, and I know that this is sort of witchy and cozy, but a lot of people also say it has some horror-esque traits and that it's like really scary and it's something to do with spiders. I don't know, but it sounds really good. She gets dumped by her longtime boyfriend and moves to a different place, and there she meets Sophie, and Sophie is sort of larger than life. She's a very interesting person and character, and she's just like so enamored with her, and they become closer and closer, and I think this friendship sort of turns toxic, but I think Sophie might also be a witch. But it says a deliciously dark feminist tale of witches, bad ex-boyfriends, good coffee, and friendly spiders. So I know that the spiders are a big role in this. I'm not very scared of spiders, but I do think this will be perfect for like the witchy, spooky, scary season, just to get like a little bit creeped out, but not too much. Okay, this is one I also got recently. This is Gallant by V.E. Schwab, and this is the Dutch edition, and it's just so stunning. I usually don't opt for the Dutch edition of books, but I had a job with Libris, which is like sort of a bookstore chain in the Netherlands. I got to pick out a few books from them, and this is one I picked. It's the special edition. It has sprayed edges as well, and it has art on the inside. It is so beautiful. I'm really happy I got this one. I know that this is very The Secret Garden-esque, so it's about a girl, Olivia, and her mother is dead, I believe, and she's in an orphanage. The only thing she's left of her mother is this diary, and it basically says, don't go to Gallant, don't go to the house, don't go there. But then she gets a letter from her uncle inviting her out to the giant manor that is Gallant, and she goes there.
even though her mother said, don't go there. But she did go there, so. We love some disobedience because it makes for a good story. I love The Secret Garden. It's one of my favorite classics. When I finally finish that, I will pick this one up, and I'm very curious to see if the translation is any good. Okay, then I have some Book of the Month books. I usually don't haul these, but these really fit the bill of the whole Halloween spooky season thing, so I'm including them because they're very fall themed. So first we have Spells for Forgetting by Adrian Young. This one was also already on my radar when I saw it on the Book of the Month list, so I was very excited. So I think this is about a witch who's trying to solve an unsolved murder, and there's also something having to do with a second chance at true love. This is something I also remembered. Her family's business is called Blackwood's Tea Shop Herbal Tonics and Tea Leaf Readings. That is all I want in October, to read books about magical tea leaf shops. So sounds absolutely amazing. I think there's also an element of ancestral magic, and it says that it's deeply atmospheric, and that's all the encouragement I needed. That is why I picked this book with Book of the Month. It just sounded really good. If there's an option for a witch novel, I will always choose the witch novel.
Agreed. Amen. Yes.
Sabine's commentary. Yes! Oh, I also want to read that as like live comments.
I'm like everyone in the comment section, but like happening in real life.
Yeah, you're like filmed with a live audience. And it's Sabine.
You hear someone like...
Then when I was in Scotland, I bought a lot of books, and they are sort of mixed within this haul, but I have a few over here that I'm so excited about. So first we have Just Kids by Patti Smith. Patti Smith is the favourite author of a lot of my friends, but I've never read anything by her. And so one of my close friends really adores this book. I think several of my close friends actually do. And they've all talked about it. And I do know that it's sort of a love story. It's part of Patti Smith's life, and I think it's like a true story. It says it's a portrait of two young artists' ascent, a prelude to fame. Sounds really good. I've also heard that it's absolutely depressing. And I'm not always that mentally stable. So this is one of those books that's like on the pile of when I am mentally stable enough. And that pile is like ever so growing. But I never deem myself like in the right spot to read them. But I feel like that spot is really coming. It's like very soon, hopefully. It's like I am doing well, just to clarify, but I don't know. I don't want to set off my struggles, you know? I also know that it's set in the 60s and 70s, so it just sounds very good. And when I'm ready for some sad books, I will pick this one up. And the cover is also beautiful. Then this book I'm so obsessed with. I can't wait to start this. I'm also a bit nervous because it's like not something I would usually pick up, but it looked so good. So I found this in a really cute, cozy bookshop in Edinburgh. It was the perfect fall moment. It was in August, but shh. So I was in the bookstore and I just saw it, and it has like this sort of gothic-y font, and I was like, that looks autumnal. So this is The Dark Archives by Megan Rosenblum, and it says a librarian's investigation into the science and history of books bound in human skin. Oh my god, absolutely terrifying. And the blurb on the top says, a species of operative writing, Dark Archives excavates the hidden stories stitched into the binding of anthropodermic books, and in doing so, restores some humanity to victims of medical exploitation. Delightful and propulsive. Not sure if you would call books bound in human skin delightful, but definitely very intriguing. This is a non-fiction story, and it's all about this one journalist's sort of venture into researching books bound in human skin, and it sounds absolutely creepy, very scary, and I just want to know. I want to know the how and the what and the who. And I was also wondering, like, if I die, and like, just presumably, if I die, and I do want my skin to be used for a book, because books are what I love most, right? Would that be possible? So I asked my sister, because she recently read a book about the things you can do with your dead body, and she was like, you cannot do that, and that's also horrible. And I was like, yeah, it might be horrible. So
sorry,
that's my update on that.
My face, when you were saying that, I have to show that. My face was like...
No, wouldn't it be cool if like my great-grandchildren can be like, yeah, that's my great-grandmother, love her.
I was gonna say reading from my grandma.
Oh, that's even worse. But wouldn't that be like so cool?
It would be very disturbing, but I could kind of cool, I guess.
It's kind of funny. Like, yeah. How is it that different from an urn? I mean, it is different, but...
I'm just like imagining your skin on a book, and it's...
My pimples.
It's just not something that I want to see in my mind again.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all of you. And Sabine, my live audience.
Thank you.
Okay, so another book I bought in Scotland is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I had already read this one. It wasn't really my favourite when I read it the first time, because I just felt like I was a little bit too dumb for it. Like, a lot of it just flew right over my head. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then this guy was lying in a house in the winter depressed for like half of the book, and I was like, it's not interesting to me. But then I started rereading it whilst I was in Scotland and became like sort of strangely enamored with it. So I think maybe now that I'm a bit older and a bit more of an experienced reader, I could enjoy this a bit more. I also read the translation when I first read it, so I read the Dutch version, so it's really nice to be trying out the English version. So like my reread does not have a lot of haste, like it's not very urgent right now to reread this immediately, but I will continue my reread at some point. I'm like at page 78. And yeah, I just love that it's a bit of a battered copy and it just looks really nice. So for those of you who don't know The Secret History, it's like the classic dark academia novel. It's basically about this group of clever, enigmatic students who are under one professor studying Greek. Well, one of them dies and then, you know, it's dark academia. This one I didn't really buy. I lent it from a friend, but I still wanted to show you guys. This is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And I think it's like a witchy rom-com, a warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. All I know is that it's about this one witch who has to hide her magic, and then she goes out to teach some younger witches her craft, and then she sort of finds a coven and like a found family, and maybe also a new love. So it's all about opening up to other people and about witchcraft. So that sounds absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to pick this one up. Yes, it's another witchy rom-com-esque book. I just bought a lot of these, okay? It was just what I needed. So this is The Witches of Moonshine Manor, and I had only read like the top of this because I had saved it as an audiobook on Scribd, but then I decided I wanted to buy it because I wanted the physical copy. I know that it's about 5 octogenarian witches, and they all live together in Moonshine Manor. They're like a coven, and then a mob gathers in front of their house. The leader of the witches, Ruby, is expected to return after 33 years to solve all their troubles, but she doesn't show, and from there on out an adventure starts to figure out what happened to her and how they can save their coven, basically. And it also says something about a feisty TikToker eager to smash the patriarchy, which kind of put me off, to be honest. I was like, wait, there's TikTok in this book? I don't know why I dislike that so much, since I am on TikTok and I do enjoy it. It's just like, that doesn't have to be in the book. I don't know. Anyway, yes, I do want to still read this. Another book I got when I was in Scotland, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar by Roald Dahl. It's a collection of Roald Dahl's short stories. I love Roald Dahl, one of my favourite writers, I think. My mother used to have this really big copy of Roald Dahl's adult fiction work, which was also a bundle of different stories, and I used to read from there when I was like way too young to be reading adult fiction. I was already obsessed with it at a very young age, so it's something that's also a bit nostalgic to me. So when I saw this and figured out it had a few stories that I'd never read before, I really wanted to get it. So I've already read this when I was on holiday in Italy, and it was really, really good, especially the title story, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, was exceptionally good. Like so whimsical and weird and strange, and like just the way Roald Dahl does it, like slightly unsettling but very intriguing and keeps you thinking. So it's basically about this man who learns to see through things and then sort of uses that for his own benefit. But he's a very self-conceited man that sort of goes through a process in trying to learn this magical thing. Very interesting. There's also a story, The Boy Who Talked with Animals, which was also very weird. It was like sort of a jab at animal cruelty, but it was also about mindless tourists and just a lot of fun. So highly recommend this one, really goes. Then my other book of the month pick was Sign Here by Claudia Lux. And I know that this is about a guy who works in hell. And I was like, yes, I do want to read about a guy who works in hell, who works with the devil. And there's basically this really rich and influential family, and only one of their members still possesses their own soul, and this guy gets a promotion if he gets that one last family member to sign over his soul to the devil. So he's working really hard to get that because he needs that promotion, and it's said that this is darkly humorous and like just creepy but also a lot of fun. So that sounded amazing and I needed to get my hands on it, so I'm very happy it was with the book of the month selections. And look at that colour, amazing. Then this book I already hauled in a vlog, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Oh god. So I accidentally bought part 2, which I was notified about in the comments, but it was too late. I already had it at that point. So this is The League of Gentlewoman Witches by India Halton, and I think the first book is called The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. It's about witches and pirates and a society of witches, society of pirates. I think they're sort of at odds with each other. In this one we follow Charlotte, who's trying to protect a powerful talisman. It's called the Long Lost Amulet of Black Beryl. I think she falls in love with a pirates, even though she's not allowed to. It sounded really good and just like a fun romp, but maybe I need to read the first book because when I started this I was like slightly confused. But yes, something I also want to pick up. Then I got The Society for Soulless Girls by Laura Steven. Laura Steven wrote some of my favorite young adult books that I really enjoyed. The exact opposite of Okay was, I think, the first one. It was a very fun feminist story, and I just think Laura Stevens is very funny, like just naturally funny. So her prose really made me laugh. So this is Dark Academia. It says on the back, 4 dead students. 10 years ago, 4 teenagers lost their lives in the North Tower murders at the elite Carvel College of Arts, forcing the university to close its doors and the case to go cold. And I know that in this story, basically the school reopens again, and then there's this girl, Lottie, who goes to that school and wants to solve the murders. And I think there's also a sapphic romance in this one. It really reminds me of Plain Bad Heroines, because that is also set in a boarding school, and it's also sapphic, and it's also like dual timelines. So back in the day when murders happened and recent days. The book had also made me think of Was Truly Devious, because the synopsis sort of has some of that in it as well. Some of my friends have read this and did not like it. I'm looking at Sabine.
Yeah,
She despised it. She made a whole, like in her vlog, she like did a whole thing on why it was so bad.
But that's so sad because I will come into a few shot for this.
Yeah, you tell me. You tell the people.
I was really sad because I loved Laura Steven and the exact opposite of
Yeah, me too.
Just like
that's
you
one
did.
Of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that one so much. But this one felt really flat for me. It was super slow. I feel like the synopsis that, I don't know if you just told them, but
yeah, sort of.
Yeah, it like, that synopsis is what takes place around like the first 200 pages. So it takes really long to finally like move towards something else. And I did not ship the two girls.
I should have just not told them the synopsis actually. That would have been better maybe.
Yeah, but it's like on the back of the book, so
yeah,
you know, you will read it eventually probably.
So you don't feel like it's a twisty, sexy, smart haunting of a book?
It wants to be that.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Okay. And it's not full of eloquent rage?
It has some things with rage, yeah.
I had heard that it had themes of like feminine rage, and I love that as a theme.
Yes, but I feel like the way that it was executed was just so much potential, but like, no.
Okay.
So, not for me.
We'll see. The thing is, I'm like, right now, not hyped to read this at all anymore, you know?
Yeah, that's so
that happens
sad.
when somebody gives it like a really bad review, you're like, I don't want to put myself through that, you know?
Yeah, but it has,
unfortunate.
I think it has almost 4 stars on Goodreads, so that's why I was like, oh my gosh. For me personally, it was a bit of a waste of time.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe I've lowered your expectations so much right now that it can only go up from there.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed, friends. That was a lovely cameo.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, so the next book is another Dark Academia that yet another of my friends did not like. So this is Babel, or Babel, I think Arif Kwon calls it Babel. This is a Dark Academia that deals a lot with themes of post-colonialism and racism, which I thought was very interesting because obviously when you talk about the elite and elite academies, racism is like a big part of that because it's a big part of any institutionalized organization or system, unfortunately. This is about Robin, who's an orphan, and he goes to this school that has to do with translation and languages and studying old languages, and there's also magic involved. I like to go in a bit blind. I just think that makes the surprise better usually. It says that it's called the university's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, so that sounds wonderful. And it has this map at the beginning that immediately made me enthusiastic. Stunning! Look, it's the tower, and it looks really beautiful. So there's some of my friends that have read this and adored it, and there's some of my friends that didn't like it as much. So mixed opinions, so can't wait to see what I personally think of this novel. Then the next book, this is also one that I bought in Scotland. This is Pieces by Helen Oyeyemi. This one really reminded me of sort of like a Wes Anderson movie. I'm not sure why I thought that. It just has those vibes. So it's about a couple, Otto and Xavier, and they are on this mysterious train journey. It says that it takes them far beyond any destination that they could have anticipated. And of course, the aesthetic of the cover is what drew me in at first. But what I like is that Otto and Xavier sort of go through all the carriages, and in each carriage, there's very strange and like intriguing characters. So it says each carriage is more curious and fascinating than the last one. becoming embroiled in intrigue aboard this strange train. So a bunch of weird characters all on a train together. So that just sounds so Wes Anderson-esque, like so interesting and intriguing. And I can't wait to pick this one up and see what I think. It's fairly short, so it should be a book that I can peep in between my TBR sometime. Then this was an absolute beast to get back home from Scotland because it's so heavy and I flew. And I didn't have a lot of space for books in my luggage anyway, so I don't know why I bought like a ton of books, but I did. Well, I do know why, because I like to buy books. This is such a heavy book. It's abnormally heavy. None of that interests you, so I will now proceed to tell you what it is about. So this is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It's a very popular book. I know it's historical and it has to do with the Society of Magic. So this is the story of two magicians and sort of their battle, but it's interweaved in actual history. So it also has to do with the war with Napoleon and the London of 1806. So that's really interesting to me that she sort of wove it together with actual history. And it says that it's full of spells, bad weather, statues that talk, haunted ballrooms, and sinister gentlemen with thistledown hair. Be enchanted. Well, I personally cannot wait to be enchanted. And a thing I usually do when I sort of look at books in the bookstore is I read a few lines of the first chapter, and I already saw that it had illustrations. I will read to you the first few sentences that really got to me, that like sort of really convinced me to buy the book. The library at Hertview, autumn 1806, January 1807. Some years ago, there was in the city of York a society of magicians. They met upon the third Wednesday of every month and read each other long, dull papers upon the history of English magic. I immediately wanted to get it just because there's like some humor in this and it sounds very autumnal, like libraries, you know, secret societies. So I needed to get it, and I'd never seen this one in a red cover. I'd only seen it in a black one, so that also made me very enthusiastic. Then I picked up another Dutch book. This is Mary by Anna Eekhout, also a book I've been wanting to read for a long time but failed to pick up. So this is basically the story of Mary Shelley's sort of adolescence. So she's 18 in this book and it's 1816, so again, historical setting. It's basically about her time at the Lake of Genève with her lover Percy and her friends John Polidori and Lord Byron, and they're all at this lake and telling each other ghost stories, and then some sinister happenings are going on. Mary Shelley has led a very interesting and intriguing, strange life, and I'd love to know more about her, so I'm very excited to pick this one up somewhere in the future. It's also exciting that a Dutch author wrote something like so sort of spooky, because that doesn't happen a whole lot. A lot of Dutch literature is very depressing to me. Not all of it, like there's definitely lots of Dutch literature that I love. This one really spoke to me, so I can't wait to pick it up, and I'm very hyped to see if I like it. Then this one is also one I bought in Scotland. This is The House at the Edge of Magic. I was looking for another fun little middle grade that I could read in between, and this one just sounded so much fun, and also the bookseller said it was really good, so that made me excited. I've been on the lookout for books that give me that nevermore feeling for such a long time, so when the bookseller told me that this has the vibe, I was like, oh, well then I shall buy it. So that I did. This is about 9, and she's an orphan pickpocket, and she's just living her days by being a pickpocket. She's sort of under this evil overlord of all pickpockets, and it's not a great existence, but then she steals the wrong thing. She steals this tiny ornament from somebody's pocket, but when she releases it, it turns into this big magical house with very, very strange inhabitants. Again, that just sounded so cool, and it says on the back that it's Diana Wynne Jones-ish adventure. I love Diana Wynne Jones. She wrote Howl's Moving Castle, so of course then I immediately had to buy this. I hope it's good. I already started it when I was on holiday, but then I put it down again because I wasn't in the right mood. Already made quite some progress, and I liked the beginning, so I always like when characters in books are also into reading, and 9 loves to read, so that made me very happy to pick this one up soon again. Then the final book of this book haul, this is Unnatural Magic by C.M. Wagoner. I completely bought this one because of the cover, because just look at it. It is so stunning. And again, this is a witchy book, of course. What did you think? That I bought anything else? Well, I don't. This is about Honor, and she's better at magic than anybody in her magic school. She's better than all the boys. She applies to the country's premier arcane academy, where she wants to learn all about magic and become an even better witch, but she's denied a spot, and of course she's very upset about this. She's even more upset when she discovers that she was denied just because she's a girl and they don't want to teach girls over there. So then she goes to the city to try and get enrolled anyway, but when she gets there, she sort of gets swept up in a whole other adventure. She discovers that trolls are being murdered, and she wants to know why and what is going on and who's murdering these trolls. She couples up with this troll who's also trying to figure out what is going on, and they have to figure it out before their whole homeland gets destroyed in this strange occurrence. Okay, so those were all of the books I've recently bought. It's a whole bunch of them. They are currently in this very unorderly pile. I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul and it might have given you some ideas of books you want to pick up this autumn. I really hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any autumnal reads you're very excited about, and if you've made it this far into the video, leave a nice pumpkin emoji down below, and I hope to see all of you in the next one. Bye guys! Do you want to say bye?
Yes, I want to say bye as well. Bye bye!
So I think it's about an orphaned girl. Is it?
No, Robin, it's a guy.
Oh, it's a guy. I thought it was a girl. It's a guy?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so it's about an orphaned boy?
Question
man?
mark?
Dude? It's about an orphan.
It's about an orphan. Point made.
Oh, ik heb het zo heet.
Het is ook zo warm, maar het is niet normaal.
So, I love Diana Wynne Jones.